The massive ship asterisk, stellar observer asterisk, hung in the darkness of space, its sleek metal hull reflecting the distant stars. Commander Vex stood at the main viewing port, his four eyes fixed on the blue-green planet that filled the screen. "Are you certain this is correct?" Vex asked, not bothering to turn around. Officer Toole approached with a datapad. "Yes, Commander. Our long-range scans confirm it. The third planet of this solar system contains sentient life." Vex made a clicking sound with his mouthparts. "Interesting. Show me their technology level." A series of images appeared on the screen. Cars moving on highways, planes flying, simple satellites orbiting the planet. Primitive communication towers dotted the landscape. "Is that all?" Vex asked, sounding disappointed. "Yes, Commander. They have basic space travel capabilities, but haven't ventured beyond their own moon. They burn fossil fuels for energy and have only begun to harness nuclear power." Vex tapped his long fingers on the railing. "Classification. Our assessment places them as a Class 3 civilization. Harmless curiosities, really." A smile spread across Vex's face. "Perfect. This planet has remarkable mineral deposits, especially in their oceans. Prepare a report for the Confederation High Council. I believe we found our next extraction site. The natives won't notice." Toole asked. "With our cloaking technology, these humans are barely looking at the stars, let alone capable of detecting our mining operations. They'll never know we were here." Captain James Miller frowned at the readings on his screen. The International Space Station's new long-range sensors were picking up something strange near Mars, but he couldn't make sense of it. "Control, this is Miller. Are you seeing this anomaly in Sector 7? The radio crackled. "Captain, we're not detecting anything unusual. Could be a glitch in the new system." Miller shook his head. "I don't think so. Something's out there." It appeared for just a moment, then vanished. "Run a diagnostic and report back. Remember, those sensors haven't been fully calibrated yet." Miller sighed. "Copy that." He ran his hand through his short brown hair and looked out the window at Earth below. The blue ocean sparkled in the sunlight. For a brief moment, he'd thought he'd made history, first human to detect alien life. But it was probably just a malfunction, as Control suggested. 2 weeks later, Commander Vex stood before the Confederation High Council, a group of 12 representatives from the most powerful species in the galaxy. "Earth is perfect for our needs," Vex explained. "Abundant resources, especially in their oceans, which cover most of the planet. The natives lack the technology to detect our operations." Councillor Maz leaned forward. "And if they do discover us?" "Highly unlikely," Vex replied confidently. "But even if they did, what could they do? Their weapons are primitive. Their rockets use chemical propulsion. They pose no threat to us." The head counselor nodded. "Very well. Operation Earth Extraction is approved. Begin with small-scale mining in their deep oceans. We'll assess their reaction, though I expect there won't be any." Vex bowed. "Thank you, counselors. I promise you won't regret this decision. The humans will never know we were there, and the Confederation will gain valuable resources with minimal effort." As Vex left the council chamber, he felt a sense of pride. This operation would earn him a promotion for sure. After all, what could possibly go wrong with such a simple planet of simple beings? Little did he know that on Earth, Captain Miller was still staring at his readings, convinced that something was out there. Something not from Earth, and he wasn't going to stop until he proved it. 3 months had passed since the Confederation began mining Earth's oceans. The massive ships hovered silently above the deep-sea trenches, their cloaking shields making them invisible to human eyes and radar. Specialized tubes extended down into the dark waters, sucking up rare minerals from the ocean floor. On the bridge of the lead mining vessel, Commander Vex watched with satisfaction as the collection numbers rose on his screen. "Truly excellent progress," he said to his second-in-command. "Earth is proving to be even richer in resources than our initial scan suggested." "The humans suspect nothing?" asked Officer Toole. Vex laughed. Of course not. Our technology is thousands of years ahead of theirs. To them, we might as well be ghosts. Dr. Emily Reed frowned at the data on her computer screen. As the lead oceanographer at the Pacific Research Institute, she had been monitoring deep-sea mineral compositions for years. But lately, something strange was happening. This doesn't make sense, she muttered to herself. The levels of certain rare metals in the Mariana Trench had dropped by nearly 30% in just 3 months. Nothing in nature could explain such a rapid change. She picked up her phone and dialed a number. International Space Agency, Captain Miller speaking. James, it's Emily Reed. We've met at the Global Science Conference last year. I need your help with something unusual. Miller's interest was immediately piqued. Unusual how? Minerals are disappearing from our oceans at impossible rates, and I've found something else. Microscopic fragments of metal that don't match any known Earth alloy. There was a pause on the line. Dr. Reed, I think we should meet in person. A week later, Miller and Reed sat in her lab, examining the strange metal fragments under a powerful microscope. The structure is like nothing I've ever seen, Reed explained. It's some kind of advanced composite. Miller nodded, his suspicions growing stronger. 3 months ago, I detected anomalies near Mars. Command said it was equipment malfunction, but I never believed it. Reed looked up from the microscope. You think whatever you saw is connected to this? I think something is taking resources from Earth, and they don't want us to know about it. Reed ran a hand through her dark hair, trying to process this information. But that would mean aliens. Miller finished for her, and they think we're too primitive to notice. Back on the Confederation mining ship, Vex was preparing his monthly report to the High Council. Operation Earth Extraction exceeds all projections, he reported proudly. We recommend expanding operations to include the Arctic region, where additional rare elements have been detected. The council members nodded in approval. Any signs of human awareness? Asked Councillor Maz, always the cautious one. None whatsoever, Vex replied confidently. Their technology is simply too primitive to detect our presence. We could probably land a ship in one of their cities, and they'd think it was just unusual weather. The council laughed at this joke. Very well, said the head counselor. Expansion approved. Continue the excellent work, Commander. As the communication ended, Vex felt a surge of pride. This operation would surely earn him that promotion to Fleet Admiral. The humans remained blissfully unaware of the Confederation's activities, just as he had predicted. Meanwhile, in Reed's lab, Miller was helping her build a new kind of detection device based on the alien metal fragments they had found. If we can tune it to the right frequency, Miller muttered as he adjusted the settings. Suddenly, the screen lit up with dozens of signals. Reed gasped. What are those? Miller's face turned grim. Those, Dr. Reed, are ships. Alien ships, all over our oceans. He looked at her with determination in his eyes. And we're going to prove it to the world. Captain Miller and Dr. Reed stood nervously in the waiting room outside the United Earth Defense Council chamber. After weeks of collecting evidence, they had finally secured a meeting with the top military and scientific leaders from around the world. Do you think they'll believe us? Reed whispered, clutching her folder of data. Miller nodded. They have to. The evidence is too strong to ignore. The large wooden doors opened, and a stern-faced woman in a military uniform appeared. They're ready for you now. Inside the chamber, 12 people sat around a large table. Representatives from major world powers watched with skeptical expressions as Miller set up his presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, he began, what I'm about to show you will change our understanding of our place in the universe forever. He activated the display, showing the readings from their modified detector. These signals represent cloaked vessels hovering above our oceans. They are not from Earth. A murmur spread through the room. That's a bold claim, Captain, said General Harris of the United States. How can you be certain these aren't just anomalies in your equipment? Dr. Reed stepped forward. Because we've captured physical evidence. She opened a small container, revealing the alien metal fragments. These materials don't exist on Earth. Their molecular structure is unlike anything in our periodic table. The room fell silent. Admiral Thomas Wilson, head of the International Naval Command, leaned forward. Assuming you're correct, what are these aliens doing? They're mining our oceans, Miller explained. Dr. Reed has documented dramatic decreases in rare minerals and metals in deep-sea areas. They're taking our resources, and they think we're too primitive to notice. The initial shock gave way to anger, then fear, and finally, determination. If what you say is true, said the Chinese representative, we must respond immediately with full military force. With respect, Miller replied, that would be suicide. Their technology is far beyond ours. A direct confrontation would end badly for Earth. Then what do you suggest? Asked Wilson. Miller took a deep breath. We use their overconfidence against them. They think we're primitive, so they're not being careful. We can study their technology and develop countermeasures in secret while they continue to believe we're oblivious. Wilson nodded slowly, a silent response to a silent invasion. Exactly, said Reed. We've already reverse-engineered some of their tech. With proper funding and global cooperation, we could develop defenses they won't expect. After hours of discussion, the Council reached a decision. Operation Silent Response was born. The world's top scientists and military minds would work together in secret while publicly maintaining normal activities to avoid alerting the aliens. On the Confederation mining ship, Officer Toole approached Commander Vex with a concerned expression. Commander, we've detected some unusual activity on the planet's surface. Vex looked up from his reports. What kind of activity? Increased communications between their scientific facilities, and some of our sensors picked up energy signatures that match our scanning technology, but they disappeared quickly. Vex waved a dismissive hand. Coincidence. Their primitive technology occasionally produces signals that resemble ours. It's meaningless. But, Commander, what if? Officer Toole. Vex interrupted sharply. I studied these humans extensively. They're barely capable of leaving their own atmosphere. The idea that they could detect our presence, let alone understand our technology, is absurd. Toole nodded reluctantly. Yes, Commander. As Toole left, Vex returned to his reports. He had staked his reputation on this operation. The last thing he needed was baseless concerns about creatures who still used combustion engines. The humans remained harmless and ignorant, just as he had reported to the Council. Little did he know that below the oceans, in secret facilities around the world, humanity was preparing its response. And they were learning much faster than anyone in the Confederation could have imagined. 6 months had passed since Operation Silent Response began, deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a massive underwater facility hidden from alien scanners. Humans were working at an incredible pace. Dr. Reed stood in the center of the main laboratory, surrounded by scientists from 20 different countries. On the wall, a countdown clock showed 43 days until the planned response. The propulsion system is ready for testing, announced Dr. Reed, pointing to a glowing engine unlike anything built on Earth before. We've combined their technology with our own innovations. Admiral Wilson nodded approvingly. And the ships? 5 completed, 15 more in production, replied the engineering chief. They're smaller than the alien vessels, but faster and with better stealth capabilities. Wilson raised an eyebrow. Better stealth than aliens thousands of years ahead of us. Reed smiled. That's the beauty of it, Admiral. They're so confident in their superiority that their detection systems are actually quite basic. They never expected to need anything more advanced to hide from primitive species like us. In another section of the facility, Captain Miller was training pilots in simulator pods designed to mimic the new Earth defense vessels. Again, Miller instructed as a pilot failed a maneuver. Remember, these ships respond differently than anything you've flown before. They don't fight against gravity. They manipulate it. The pilot, a former fighter ace named Rodriguez, wiped sweat from his brow. "It's like learning to fly all over again." "Exactly," Miller said with a nod. "Forget everything you know. These ships don't just fly. They dance." Aboard the Confederation command ship, Commander Vex received a message from the High Council. He read it with a growing smile. "Good news?" asked Officer Toole. "The best," replied Vex. "My performance in Operation Earth Extraction has earned me a commendation, and the Council has approved a full-scale expansion. We're going to triple our mining capacity." "Triple?" Toole hesitated. "Commander, I've been meaning to report some unusual energy readings we've detected in the humans' deep ocean regions." Vex sighed with irritation. "Still worried about the primitives." "What are they going to do, Toole? Attack us with their chemical rockets?" He laughed at his own joke. "The readings don't match their known technology," Toole persisted. "Neither does much of what they do. Their science is clumsy and often produces strange results." Vex turned back to his reports. "The expansion begins tomorrow. Soon we'll have extracted enough rare minerals to supply the Confederation for decades." Back at the underwater base, Dr. Reed made final adjustments to the prototype vessel's systems. The ship looked nothing like traditional human spacecraft. It was sleek, almost organic in design, with a dark hull that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "Will it work?" Admiral Wilson asked, staring at the strange craft. "In theory, yes," Reed replied. "We've tested every component. It should be completely invisible to their scanners, while our new detection system will spot them easily." "And the weapons?" Reed's expression turned serious. "Non-lethal, as agreed. We want to capture, not kill. Show them we're not the savages they think we are." Wilson nodded. "Captain Miller will lead the first mission. We capture one ship, learn what we can, and send them a message they can't ignore." Across the facility, in rooms filled with reversed engineered alien technology, humans worked with focused determination. Scientists who once competed now collaborated. Countries that had been enemies now shared resources and knowledge. The aliens had made a critical mistake. They had judged humanity's technology, but failed to account for humanity's greatest strength: the ability to adapt, to learn, and to rise to any challenge when united by a common purpose. In just 43 more days, the Confederation would learn just how wrong they had been about Earth. The day had arrived. 5 Earth vessels rose silently from the ocean depths, their dark hulls blending with the night sky. Captain Miller sat in the command chair of the lead ship, named *Defiance*. "All systems operational," reported his second-in-command, Lieutenant Davis. "Stealth systems functioning perfectly. The alien vessels don't detect us." Miller nodded, feeling a mix of tension and pride. After months of preparation, humanity was about to announce its presence to the stars, not as victims, but as equals. "All ships, maintain formation," Miller ordered through the comm system. "Remember the plan. We target the smallest mining vessel, disable its engines and communications, and bring it down intact. No casualties if possible." The 5 Earth ships surrounded a lone Confederation mining vessel that had separated from the main fleet. The alien ship was large but lightly armed, as the Confederation had seen no need for heavy weapons when dealing with harmless Earth. "On my mark," Miller said, his hand hovering over the control panel. 3, 2, 1. Execute." All 5 Earth ships fired simultaneously. Beams of energy, based on the Confederation's own technology, but modified by human engineers, struck the alien vessel's key systems with surgical precision. The mining ship's engines died instantly, and its communications array exploded in a shower of sparks. On the bridge of the alien ship, alarms blared as systems failed one after another. "What's happening?" shouted the captain, a junior officer named Kell. "Unknown vessels," cried the sensor operator. "They appeared out of nowhere. Our engines are disabled, communications are down, and—" The ship shuddered as tractor beams locked onto it from multiple directions. "Impossible." Kell whispered, staring at the view screen. The ships surrounding them were clearly not Confederation design, yet their technology seemed advanced. Are those human vessels? The crew watched in stunned silence as their mining ship was slowly pulled down toward the ocean surface. On the Confederation command ship, Commander Vex was enjoying a meal when Officer Toll burst onto the bridge. "Commander, we've lost contact with Mining Vessel 12. Vex put down his food. "Equipment malfunction." "No, sir." Before communications went down, they reported being attacked by unknown vessels. Vex frowned. "Pirates. Out here." "Sir," Toll said hesitantly, "the last transmission indicated the ships came from Earth." Vex laughed. "That's absurd. The humans don't have technology capable of." He was interrupted by an incoming transmission. On the main screen appeared the face of a human female. "Attention Confederation forces. This is Dr. Emily Reed of Earth. We have captured one of your mining vessels and its crew. They are unharmed and will be treated according to international protocols for prisoners of war." Vex stared in disbelief. How had the humans detected them? How had they developed technology to counter Confederation ships? "We are aware of your resource extraction operations in our oceans," Reed continued. "This activity will cease immediately. Earth is not defenseless or ignorant of your presence. We are prepared to defend our planet if necessary." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in shocked silence. "Impossible," Vex whispered. "They're primitives. They burn fossil fuels. They fight wars over religion." "Sir," said Toll quietly, "what do we do now?" Before Vex could answer, another transmission came through, this one from the Confederation High Council. "Commander Vex," said the stern voice of the head counselor, "you are ordered to return to Confederation space immediately to explain this catastrophic intelligence failure. How have the humans captured our technology? How did they detect our presence? And most importantly, why did you assure us they were harmless when they clearly are not?" As the transmission ended, Vex sank into his chair. His career was over, his reputation ruined, all because he had underestimated a species he considered primitive. On Earth, humanity prepared for the Confederation's response, knowing that the real test was yet to come. The Confederation High Council chamber buzzed with angry voices. 12 leaders of the most powerful species in the galaxy argued about how to respond to Earth's unexpected show of strength. "We must crush them immediately," shouted Councillor Drez, pounding his fist on the table. "Send in the battle fleet and teach these primitives their place." "And risk further embarrassment," countered Councillor Mass. "They captured one of our ships with ease. What if they've learned more than we realize?" Commander Vex stood silently in the center of the chamber, awaiting judgment. His once promising career now hung by a thread. "Commander," said the head counselor, turning to Vex, "you assured us the humans were harmless. How could you be so wrong?" Vex swallowed hard. "I underestimated their adaptability, Counselor. They learned from our technology much faster than any species we've encountered before." "An expensive mistake," said the head counselor coldly. "One that has cost us resources, a ship, and our dignity." After hours of debate, the council reached a decision. A battle group would be sent to Earth, not to attack immediately, but to assess the situation and demonstrate Confederation power, and Commander Vex would be sent with them, given one chance to redeem himself by resolving the situation without further embarrassment to the Confederation. On Earth, Dr. Reed sat across from the captured alien captain in a specially designed interview room. After weeks of work, they could now communicate through a basic translation device. "Your name is Kell, correct?" she asked. The alien nodded, his 4 eyes blinking nervously. "Yes, I am Junior Commander Kell of the Confederation. We don't wish to harm you or your crew," Reed explained. "We only want the Confederation to respect our world and our rights." Kell looked confused. "But you are primitives. How did you capture our ship? How did you learn our technology so quickly?" Reed smiled. "That's humanity's greatest strength. We adapt. We learn. We work together when threatened. Their conversation was interrupted by Admiral Wilson, who entered the room with an urgent expression. Dr. Reed, we need you in command. Our deep space sensors have detected multiple Confederation ships entering our solar system. In the Earth Defense Command Center, Captain Miller studied the tactical display with concern. 7 ships, much larger than the mining vessels. Definitely warships. Can we fight them? Wilson asked, looking at the approaching threat. Miller shook his head. Not directly. We have 20 vessels now, but they're designed for stealth and capture, not open warfare. If the Confederation wants a fight, they have the advantage. Reed joined them, looking thoughtful. Then we don't fight. We negotiate. From a position of strength. What strength? Wilson asked. Knowledge, Reed replied. We've learned more about their technology from one ship than they think possible, and we have their crew. Miller nodded slowly. And they don't know exactly what capabilities we have. Their imagination might be more frightening than reality. Precisely, said Reed. We send a message. We return their crew as a show of good faith, but we demonstrate just enough of our technology to make them think twice about attacking. Wilson considered the plan. It's risky. Less risky than war with a galactic power, Miller pointed out. As they debated their options, a transmission came through from the Lid Confederation ship. On the screen appeared a familiar face. Commander Vex. People of Earth, he said, his voice tense but controlled. The Confederation demands the return of our vessel and crew. Comply immediately or face the consequences. Reed, Miller, and Wilson exchanged looks. The real test of humanity had arrived. Open a channel, Reed said firmly. Let's show Commander Vex exactly what humanity is capable of. The 7 Confederation battleships formed a menacing line in Earth's orbit. Their weapons systems glowed with energy, ready to fire at Commander Vex's order. The humans have 1 hour to respond, Vex said to his bridge crew. He needed to resolve this situation quickly and successfully to save his career. Officer Toole approached cautiously. Commander, our sensors are detecting unusual energy readings from Earth. What kind of readings? Vex asked. Before Toole could answer, the ship's alarms blared. On the view screen, 20 Earth vessels appeared suddenly, rising from oceans and emerging from hidden mountain bases around the planet. They moved with incredible speed, taking positions that surrounded the Confederation fleet. Impossible, Vex whispered. Their technology, it's almost equal to ours. A transmission came through. Dr. Reed's face appeared on the screen, with Captain Miller and Admiral Wilson standing beside her. Commander Vex, Reed began, we have prepared a demonstration of Earth's capabilities. At her signal, the Earth vessels activated their weapon systems. Energy readings spiked across the Confederation sensors. As you can see, Reed continued, we could have attacked your mining operations at any time. We chose diplomacy first. Vex struggled to hide his shock. You still cannot match our full military might. Miller stepped forward. Perhaps not today. But we've learned more in 6 months from one captured ship than you expected us to learn in a century. Imagine what we could do with the knowledge from your entire fleet. The implied threat hung in the space between them. Wilson spoke next. We propose a different path. We are returning your mining vessel and crew unharmed. On cue, the captured Confederation ship rose from Earth's atmosphere, its systems fully restored. Why would you do this? Vex asked suspiciously. Because we don't want war, Reed explained. We want recognition, respect, and a seat at the galactic table. The Confederation High Council received Vex's urgent transmission with growing concern. The humans had advanced far beyond their expectations. They had captured and then voluntarily returned a Confederation vessel. They had developed technology that could challenge Confederation ships. The humans request formal recognition and the status of an equal species, Vex reported. Based on what I've seen, I recommend we accept. The council members exchanged surprised looks. This was not the outcome they had expected. "You believe these humans worthy of Class 1 status?" asked the head counselor incredulously. "I do," Vex replied firmly. "They possess something unique, an ability to adapt and evolve at unprecedented speeds. Today they matched some of our technology. Tomorrow." He left the implication hanging. After much debate, the council reached its decision. 3 months later, Dr. Reed and Captain Miller stood on the bridge of the Confederation diplomatic vessel as it entered deep space. As Earth's representatives, they were traveling to the Confederation homeworld to sign the formal treaty. "I still can't believe how quickly things change," Miller said, watching the stars streak by at faster than light speeds. Reed smiled. "They thought Earth was harmless. We proved them wrong not just through strength, but through restraint. We could have fought, but we chose peace." Commander Vex, now serving as liaison between Earth and the Confederation, joined them on the observation deck. "The Council has officially reclassified humans as a Class 1 rapid adaptation species," he informed them. "The highest classification we have." "And the mining operations?" Miller asked. "Replaced with fair trade agreements," Vex confirmed. "You will receive technology. We receive resources with proper compensation." As the ship accelerated toward the heart of the galaxy, Reed looked out at the endless stars. Humanity had faced its first galactic challenge and emerged not just victorious, but respected. They had proven that adaptation, ingenuity, and unity were more powerful than advanced technology alone. Earth was no longer alone in the universe, and no one would ever underestimate humanity again.